Okay, so here's a couple of difference quotient examples using rational or radical functions. So for example B, I'm going to let you go ahead and copy this out, pause the video. We're doing f of 3 plus h minus f of 3. So instead of an x, we have a 3 in there. And we substitute it in, and we rationalize the numerator by multiplying by the conjugate, and after we multiply that out, we're able to factor out an h and cancel, and this is what we're left with. And I've got one more example that's very similar to that. Pause the video. I'm going to let you copy it out. So in this case, our original function f of x is 3x plus 2. And we want to do the difference quotient. So we always start with this same difference quotient, and we're just doing our substitution, and we can't leave it like that, so we want to rationalize the numerator so that we can get some h's outside the radical so that we can cancel them. So you rationalize, see here how this is a minus. We're going to take that same expression except with a plus on top and bottom. And what always happens is we end up canceling our inner and outer terms. So this shows what you're left with, and you just want to be able to combine like terms. So after that's finished, you end up with 3h on top and h times a whole big mess there on the bottom, and really the goal is for those h's to cancel. So you still have an h in as part of your answer, but that h was able to cancel. So copy those examples down, and I'm going to work out some examples using rational functions from start to finish, and then you'll have a chance to practice. So for our first example, let's see if I can get this straight here. Alright, so these are rational functions examples. So example A is g of x equals 1 over x, and that's a parent function of a rational function. So let's start out with the difference quotient. So g of x plus h minus g of x, all of that over h, and then we're going to substitute. So we have 1 over x plus h minus 1 over x, all of that over h. And so in order to simplify this, we want to get a common denominator up here on the top. So if we take a look at these fractions, say this is our denominator and this is our denominator, our common denominator is going to be x times x plus h, and whenever we're doing that we want to multiply by it on top and bottom so that we're multiplying by an expression over itself, which is equivalent to 1. Okay, so I'm going to distribute this out and bring down my result. So 1 over x plus h times x plus h minus x times x plus h times 1 over x. So I'm really just distributing here, and I'm just showing you the math before I do the canceling. All of that over h times x plus h. So then I'm going to do my canceling. So here the x plus h cancels, so I just end up with x, and here the x's cancel. So see how my denominators go away once I find a common denominator? Minus, So x plus h times 1 is x plus h. And down here on the bottom, I've got h times x plus h times x. And so I'm going to just combine like terms up here on the top, and I've got x minus h. So x minus x is 0. I get negative h on the top over h, x plus h, x. Cancel, cancel. Alright, for example B, our function is going to be a little more complex. We're going to be given that f of x is x over x plus 1, and we want to do the difference quotient. So we start it always in the same way. F of x plus h minus f of x over h. And I'm going to substitute it in. So x plus h over x plus h plus 1 minus x plus, x plus h over x plus h plus 1 minus x over x plus 1. And then I'm going to multiply through by the common denominator. So the way I find a common denominator with a rational function is I just combine and multiply both of the denominators. So I'm going to multiply everything by x plus h plus 1 times x plus 1 over, okay, and all of this is over h, by the way. Then all of that over x plus h plus 1 over x plus, times x plus 1. So I'm going to distribute and what I end up with is x plus h times x plus 1. So you can see in the first distribution the x plus h plus 1 canceled, leaving just x plus h and x plus 1, minus x times x plus h plus 1. Then I'm going to distribute everything out. I'm going to do double distribution here and distribution here. And let's see what I get. Combine like terms in the numerator. And my h's cancel. That is as far as I can go with my simplification. I'm going to see if I can't fit C over here. That's my last one. F of x equals 4x over x minus 5. And I'm going to find the difference quotient. F of x plus h minus f of x. All that over h. So I'm going to substitute in 4 times x plus h over x plus h minus 5 minus 4x over x minus 5, all of that over h. So I am going to multiply through by my common denominator, which is simply the two denominators multiplied together. So x plus h minus 5 times x minus 5, and I'm going to put that over itself, times the original numerator, 4 times x plus h over x plus h minus 5 minus 4x over x minus 5 all of that over h. So I can see when I multiply times my first term, my x plus h minus 5 is going to cancel out, and I get 4 times x plus h times x minus 5 minus, and then I've got 4x over x minus 5. That x minus 5 is going to cancel. So I get 4x times x plus h minus 5. And then the denominators both cancel out. And then we end up in the denominator. We have h times everything that we multiplied through by. So up top I'm going to double distribute and bring everything down. So I'm going to do 4 times x squared minus 5x plus hx minus 5h. So I did 4 multiplication problems, and then minus 4x x plus h minus 5. All that over h. So 4x squared minus 20x plus 4hx minus 20h minus 4x squared minus 4xh plus 20x. All that over h. So let's combine like terms. 4x squared minus 20x plus 20x plus 4hx minus 4hx. Negative 20h is what's left over h. Oh, over h, and then I forgot to multiply by the entire denominator there. So that's going to be times x plus h minus 5 over, or times x minus 5. So our final answer is negative 20 over x plus h minus 5 times x minus 5. And that's it. So your homework, so that you can practice this, is given on this worksheet. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 problems. Find and simplify the difference quotient for each problem, or for each function, and the solutions are given. So you just need to be able to do the work until you can reach the solution and check your answers. And we will probably have a different video working these out, or maybe take questions in class.